Look, it really is my pleasure to be here today to attend the Chinese media launch for the Hurstville Ward of Georges River Council with my good friend Vince, I've known for a very, very long time, with Dominic and Meimei, who are his running mates. So thanks for putting your hands up for civic duty. I've known Vince for a long time. Everybody in the Labor Party knows Vince. He's been on council for 17 years, on Hurstville Council, 7 as mayor. You don't get to rack up those victories, you don't get to stay on council and achieve those 7 years as mayor unless you're doing something right, unless the people of the area who are called upon to re-elect you year after year can see something in you. And it's no accident that Vince has been re-elected time and time again, because he is that commodity that people need now. I think it's true to say that we're in a bit of a difficult time in Australian politics, a bit of an ebbing away of confidence. Well, I have a view about that, and I reckon that confidence in government, in public life, in politics starts at the bottom, not the top. It's people like these three who are running for council that are just as important as someone like Malcolm Turnbull or Badalati. Because if local people don't have confidence in their elected representatives at that level of government, local council level, it really impacts their lives from a day-to-day basis, then we're all lost. And I'm really thankful that we have Vince and Dominic and Meimei running for the Labor Party in the new Georges River Council. It's a shame they're running for Georges River Council, because there shouldn't be a Georges River Council in my view. These amalgamations were created by Mike Baird to try and create liberal super councils. There was no reason Hurstville Council should have been amalgamated. This is something that Mike Baird and Badalati have now walked away from, and they'll be punished for it. You know, Vince has been a strong friend to the Chinese community over 17 years. You all know that. He's initiated local specific Chinese projects like the Lunar New Year Festival in Hurstville, 40 to 50,000 attendees. He's launched Chinese specific programs like community centres, baby health centres. And this is the sort of guy with his teammates, he's always thinking about what to do next for his community, but also for the Chinese members of his community that have been so loyal to him for so long. And I know that in the next couple of weeks, if I know Vince, he'll be making some more announcements about what he wants to do in the future to help your people in the Hurstville and the Georges River area. I have to say this about the Labor Party. You all know that the Labor Party has been a friend of the Chinese community, and we've helped each other out. We're very proud to say that. Last week we saw Pauline Hanson walk into the Senate with a burqa on. Last week it was her turn to attack the Islamic community in Australia. Well, it's also been her turn to attack the Chinese community in Australia over many, many long years. We all of us at this table, our party completely repudiates the policies of a politician who seeks to divide and who wants to deny that one of the best things about Australia is its multiculturalism. And the Chinese people in Australia, thankfully, you've emigrated here for 180 years. You've made an enormous contribution. For Pauline Hanson to attack you, your contributions, your right to be here is really a disgrace. We all repudiate that. And I know that in the New South Wales Parliament, we've asked Gladys Berejiklian time and time and time again to rule out a preference deal with Pauline Hanson at the next state election, and she won't. You cannot say you are a friend of the Chinese community if you want to hold hands with Pauline Hanson under the table. The Labor Party will have nothing to do with her whatsoever in the upcoming election. And I just want to reiterate that we all have the greatest respect for the Chinese community in Australia, and we've been friends and have trusted each other for a very long time. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you come from, whether you're Irish like me, Badalati, Italian, Chinese. You want the same thing for your family, for your children, for your mum and dad. You want a good life with opportunities. You want opportunities to educate your children. I know that the Chinese have had a reverence, almost an obsession, almost an obsession for education, because you know it's the best way to get ahead. And what we've seen with Malcolm Turnbull, with his $100,000 university fees, and Gladys Berejiklian taking money out of TAFE, they say they believe in education, but their model for education is this: you can't pay for it, you don't deserve it. And they think that they can sell degrees to people coming in from overseas to keep universities funded, all the while they're taking government funding away from them. That's not the model for education. There's no difference between Chinese people and other people in New South Wales and Australia, in council areas here and there. Not everyone's doing well. A lot of people are feeling it tough. You want to know that regardless of how your family's fortunes are going, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you earn, you still have the right and the expectation that your children can get a good education. That's what Labor stands for. That's what the people at this table stand for, and that's what we will always stand for. You could think of one lever to pull that would damage the prospects of this nation. It would be to cut funding to education, to cut opportunities for our young people to get educated. Labor shares your obsession with education, and these people sitting with me at this table do today as well. So, can I thank you very much for coming here today. Thanks for helping Vince out and Dominic and Meimei in their endeavours to get on the council. I think one of the most valuable commodities in public life today is good, honest, local representatives. You certainly have that with these people sitting with me here at this table today. I'm proud to be here to launch their campaign amongst the Chinese community today. Thank you for your loyalty and your friendship. Go and tell your friends about these great people here and get them out to vote on election day in the versatile ward. They won't be disappointed. Thank you very much.
This coming election, people have to decide whether to vote for somebody who says they've done something, who attends all functions, but when it comes to actual council work, does nothing. They need to decide whether to support an independent who was on council, who is actually a Liberal, who is actually still in the Liberal Party, running as an independent, and the only reason she's running as an independent is because she was rejected by the Liberal Party to be their candidate. So people need to keep that in mind. I'd just like to introduce our team very briefly. Myself, I've known quite a lot of you over many years. I've lived in Beverly Hills for 40 odd years. I'm very passionate about the area. As Michael said, I was on Hurstbourne Council for 17 years and Mayor for 7 years. Dominic Sin was in the last term of council. He's lived in the area for many years. He's worked in the area for many years, and he's a well-known local. And he was also deputy mayor when the Baird government sacked all the councils in Sydney. So he was also vice president of CAS for 7 years. So he was doing a lot of community work around Hurstbourne, and people in Hurstbourne really appreciate what he's done for them. Our third candidate is Meimei Chao. Now, Meimei's got an interesting background. She was born in Hong Kong, but came out to Australia at an early age, and of all places, She was brought up in Cootamundra. So she then moved to the Hurstville area, and for 6 years she was Vice President of the Hurstville Public School PNC. So even to this day, a lot of local parents turn to Meimei for assistance. So she's also well recognised in the community. A lot of the other candidates, as I said earlier, will claim that they've done this, they've done that. But at the end of the day, it's the Labor team on council that has delivered major projects for the Chinese community and the wider community. It was a Labor council who built 2 community centres, one at Kingsgrove, one at Mortdale. They both include baby health centres. And to this very day, they're assisting a lot of the Chinese community. There are seniors groups, there are young mothers with babies that use those centres, and they've proven to be very popular in the community. It was a Labor council who's initiated a sporting precinct at Penshurst Park, and over the next 2 to 3 years you will see major improvements to both the aquatic centre. That will be enlarging. There will be cricket facilities, football facilities, badminton, table tennis, etc. Cricket New South Wales will be using the new indoor nets that will be built for the women's team. So that's another thing that the Chinese community will be using as well. It was a Labor council who purchased buildings on Forest Road to create the bus interchange. It was a Labor team that purchased other buildings on Forest Road, and a new Central Plaza will be built there within the next 2 years. So the major projects in Hurstville over the last 15 to 17 years have all been initiated and have all been built by a Labor council. Now, Michael mentioned that we will be announcing some new policies in the next couple of weeks before the election. And I can tell you now that this team will be fighting to help both seniors and young families in our area. As you know, the cost of living has gone up significantly, and for seniors we will be fighting to increase the rebate on the council rates from $75, where it's been for many years. This is the council portion of the rebate, and we hope to take it up to $150 to assist pensioners, to assist Chinese people who are finding it hard, as well as the wider community. We will also be fighting to increase the number of council-run childcare centres, and we'll fight to make sure there's no increases in the rate for childcare at those council-run centres over the next 4 years. So these are measures that will assist the wider community, will make it easier for people in their day-to-day living expenses, and it's only a Labor team that will deliver these things. So I won't go into the amalgamations. Michael covered most of that. But on the 9th of September, democracy will return to the councils in Sydney that were undemocratically sacked by a Liberal state government. So I urge you to put the message out to all the Chinese community that their democratic rights will be returned on the 9th of September. So finally, I'd like to thank you all for coming along here today. I think it's very important that we do get the message out to the Chinese community, and obviously you guys play a major role in that. So thank you very much.
Now is because, as you are aware, there is other candidates of Australian Chinese descent. So I would like to address what I see is my work record both in council and also in community. So I'll say the following in Cantonese. 我就嚟咗澳洲幾十年，都算係老華僑㗎啦。咁我喺1980幾年嘅時候咧，就入咗而家叫做 Centrelink 嘅政府部門。咁當時咧，我第一個大嘅項目就係由移民局攞翻嗰啲政府撥款，就喺 Centrelink 嗰度開設咗嗰個 Interpreting and Translation Service 嗰個傳譯同埋翻譯服務，同埋亦都爭取好多撥款咧嚟做翻譯嗰啲 Centrelink 嗰啲政府嘅單張。咁呢個係我第一個攞爭取撥款嘅記錄。我最記得有一次喺西雪梨嗰度見到當時嗰個 Social Security 嘅 Minister Brian Howe。咁嗰陣時嗰個 Social Security 嘅 Minister， 咁我嗰陣時係一個好低級嘅職員，我就走埋問佢，我話 Mr. Howe， 你而家有一個新嘅政策，我想問你攞錢，我想將呢個新嘅政策嘅單張譯做5種言語。咁佢話點解要譯啊？咁我解俾佢知點解要譯。咁然後翻咗去1個禮拜，我就俾 New South Wales 個 director 召咗上去。Dominic, what are you doing? Why did you talk to the minister? 喂 ，Dominic 你做咩？點解你要同個部長傾偈？我話我要攞錢去做 translation of pamphlet， 我要攞錢去做嗰啲翻譯啊嘛。咁個 director 就話俾我知，嗱，而家錢就喺度啦。呢一次你搞得好好睇睇，如果唔係以後你都冇人客㗎啦。咁我就係第一次成功咁去爭取撥款。咁然後跟住咧，我喺 Centrelink 咧就寫 Access and Equity Policy。咩叫 Access and Equity Policy 咧？就係任何人唔理佢嘅言語背景，唔理佢嘅文化背景，都喺呢一個 Access and Equity Policy 裏面，都應該有平等攞到咁樣嘅服務嘅機會，同埋根據同樣嘅法律、同樣嘅規則攞到同樣嘅結果。呢、個就係叫 Access and Equity Policy。然後跟住我喺 Centrelink 嗰陣時就係去做 cross-cultural training。咩叫 cross-cultural training？ 就係嗰啲 social security Centrelink 嗰啲工人點樣去見嗰啲申請人，點樣用嗰個傳譯服務，點樣去喺一個 role play 嘅情況底下，點去教佢哋去做呢啲咁樣嘅 cross-cultural training。咁同埋嗰陣時咧，我亦都做咗嗰個 ethnic naming system of New South Wales。咁咧，因為咧嗰陣時咧將嗰啲名擺落去電腦咧，就搞到亂晒龍。咁之後我入咗做移民局，就去做 community consultant。community consultant 係做咩嘅咧？就係幫嗰啲少數民族同埋各種民族咧爭取政府嘅撥款 ，grant in aid workers 同埋 migrant resource centre， 就係提供各種唔同嘅服務。咁所以我嘅背景咧，其實一路都係喺社福界嗰度嘅。我就唔係好似某啲人咁蜻蜓點水，咦個項目差唔多去到尾啦，走去影張相就話我做咗乜，我做咗乜。而係我幾十年來都係喺社福界，我嘅 track record 都係爭取撥款嘅。咁之後我入咗華人服務社，華人服務社喺當年最動亂嘅時候我入去嘅。咁嗰陣時嗰7年，其實過去嗰7年係做得好辛苦，我做咗副主席。咁我亦都有極力幫華人服務社 CAS 爭取咗嗰個 funding for aged care facilities， 就係爭取到 8.63 million。咁我係其中一個好積極嘅分子，爭取到863萬嚟喺 Camps 起咗個 aged care facility， 起咗嗰個老人院。咁我離開咗華人服務社之後咧，特殊兒童協會咧就邀請我加入，又係做副會長，咁又係希望幫佢申請funding。 所以我強調一點就係，我幾十年來我嘅專門都係幫弱勢社群去申請政府嘅撥款，就唔係蜻蜓點水式間唔中幫下呢度，間唔中幫下呢度。咁我就希望各位能夠好好咁樣去分清邊一個候選人係真係長期以來實事求是、繼往開來咁樣去為社群服務。咁希望各位能夠支持我哋工黨，就喺選舉嗰日喺投票嘅黑線上面 B 組 Labour 工黨嘅方格寫個一字，投我哋工黨一票。多謝。
Vince and Dominic, standing as a candidate for the upcoming Georges River Council election to serve the community. As Vince has introduced me, I'm just a simple country girl that raised in Cootamundra. I have a very traditional Australian values, mateship, honour, integrity. So it is no surprise to myself or my family that I stand here today, humble as a candidate of the Great Australian Labor Party to serve my community. As introduced, I was the president of the Hurstville Public School PNC for 5 years. I committed myself to volunteering for the benefits of the children and family in Hurstville community. And over those years, under my leadership as president, the PNC developed from being a sort of a cupcake baking body to a very strong and relevant body, known and respected for its independencies, impartial and transparencies. So, and I emphasized during this time that our PNC successfully attracted a multi-million-dollar investment for the New South Wales government for constructions of a desperately needed 10 classroom facilities. 呢一個因為我哋係喺 PNC 裏邊自己做嘅，即係我哋好肯定就係我哋自己嘅 PNC body 係直接去同我哋政府去 lobby 呢一個呢個幾百萬嘅學校嘅 facilities。Like Michael said, it's all at the start at the locals. So we understand the challenges the residents of Hurstville face. We make up of many immigrants, family and students. Like Vince said, where the cost of living is concerned and access to important council services is at the front of everybody's mind. So ensuring the development is encouraged where it is appropriate, ensuring the business and government services are attracted to our city centres, and to encourage local commerce and investments that create jobs and opportunities and improve the infrastructures and the facilities. After the experience of the forced amalgamation, residents of Hurstville are now looking for council to get on the job of providing the local services, maintaining and enhance parks, local roads, provide a safe and attractive environment for families, and running an effective and efficient councils. And that's what I stand for, and enhancing the area for the community I'm part of is what I'm passionate about. So I really lastly, and I like thank my fellow Labour candidates and the Australian Labour Party for giving me the opportunity to stand as a candidate in the coming elections to serve my community. Thank you.